Hello, and welcome to the fourth episode of the But I'm Knitting podcast. Today's episode is called the one where I review my weekend. So you can find me on, well, maybe I should introduce myself. That would help so much more. My name is Ramona. I'm a knitter from Toronto, and welcome to my corner of the knitting world. You can find me on Ravelry as Mona Lee 81. You can find me on Instagram as Rome_Raven. And I also have a blog where I put my show notes and updates on there, but I could possibly put up more stuff. I have more time now. It's butimknitting.blogspot.ca, right? Yes, I got it right on the first try. So, well, I just wanted to put a little disclaimer for the last episode. I had tried so hard. Well, it's not really a disclaimer, honestly. It's like an issue I was having with it when I was trying to get my upload ready, the video ready to upload onto YouTube. I had wanted to put, all the lovely little things where it tells you, like, this is the pattern I'm working on. This is what I said, so you can get to see what's written out. But the program I downloaded didn't allow me to do that. So I downloaded another program, which was, I think, like Windows Live Media Player, but I didn't realize that after I put in all of my edits and it looked good, that it only does it as a WMLA file or something like that, which apparently does not work on YouTube, and you can't save it as any other kind of alternative. So I basically wasted like half an hour to 45 minutes of my life that I could never get back. But I was able to hobble it together and cut out, there was like 3 minutes of me flipping through pages that I wanted to get rid of, and I was able to do that last week otherwise. But eventually I will figure out a way to really get the video to look exactly how I want it with the writing at the bottom. So let's get on with my knitting. Okay, so this week I didn't finish anything. I kind of did, if you consider half object a finished thing, but yeah. I didn't work on my blanket at all. I pretty much just giving it up to, for the month of April, I didn't touch it. Maybe this month I will try to get back and, really get working on it again, because I really did enjoy working on it almost every day. But it just didn't happen. So let's get on with the stuff that I actually did do this week. I finished one sock out of each of the pair of socks I was working on, are the ones that I started last week. So we'll start with the modified rye sock by Tin Can Knit. Hers is just called the rye socks. So the yarn that I'm using is this one. It's a Hawthorn from Knit Picks in the color Pearl. Last week when you saw it, or 2 weeks ago when you saw it, I had made it up to this point right here. And now you can see from where the stitch marker is, I made it all the way and finished the sock. Yay. And then on top of that, I started the second one. And there's actually a little story with this one. First, my needles, they're the Carbons double-pointed needles in a, you can see right there, Carbons double-pointed needle in a 0 US or 2 millimeter, my preferred sock size. So my story with this is, I was packing up to go to the Frolic, which I will talk about later on in the podcast. And it wasn't until I was on the first bus, already left my house about 10 minutes, that I looked in my bag and I couldn't find my socks. I did not walk with it. I only walked with the yarn and the needles, which were empty. But the problem is, I needed this gray one, this gray yarn right here, which is, I didn't tell you, Cascade sock, and there's a fancy number for it, but you'll just call it gray. I needed that to start my sock. So I had nothing to knit with the entire day. It felt so wrong. But I made do, I survived, and when I got home I cast on. I'm like, I must knit something for the day. And so that's making its progress. My next project that I finished one on is using Woolen Vines Footsie Base in the Pandora colorway. I think I'm actually going to have a lot left over for this. It's the Strangling Vine Socks, designed by Karen Burr on Ravelry. Last week I had knit up to this point, and then I finished off the sock. and I started the second one. It's only about that long, longer than a mustache, bit too long for a goatee. So it's the same needles, the carbons, DPNs, in a 0/2 millimeter, 2.0 millimeter. The bag I'm using, I actually looked it up, but I don't believe she's making them anymore. I looked it up on Etsy, like one of my first transactions, and it just says the shop owner, the shop is closed, or they can't find it anymore. Much to my dismay, I still really, really do like this bag. But there are other alternatives nowadays that you can find for it. Okay, hold on, excuse me as I set up the next sock. So, as I said before, actually I don't even know what I was saying before, but, so, my third pair of socks is the self-striping that I dyed myself. Ooh, it's falling apart, stupid cake. Okay, so here it is. It doesn't really have a name, but I've been calling it La Marche because it reminds me of, I was taking a walk, I think it was last year, and it was probably about spring, maybe summertime, and somebody's garden kind of reminded me of the colors, so it works out well, so we'll call it La Marche. So here is the first sock. Yay, it's all done for the first one. The yarn on top for the heels, cuffs, and toes is Woolme's Twin in AL13, AL13. I think it's a chemical joke reference, quite sure, but I don't remember my chemical compounds other than H2O. So there's the first sock. A little bit big for the blocker, but it's what I got. And I started my second sock, which is coming along nicely. Right here. I am probably about 2 color repeats away. No, not 2 color repeats, but like 1 color repeat from putting in the heel. So that's going along well. Still using my point protectors. I lost one somehow during the week though. So I'm down to 3 instead of 4 like I had originally. And the needle I'm using, hold on, are the Hayahayas. You can see that. The Hayahayas 9-inch circulars. I don't think these are considered sharp, but yeah, it works fine for what I'm doing. And the bag that I'm using for that one is the one I got from the Tangle Skein. That's Sue from the podcast of the two Tangle Skeins. Her Etsy shop is Tangle Skein CA, I believe. So it was one of her wheat knot bags, which I absolutely love. Okay, so that takes care of all of my current works in progress. This week I actually did get a couple of things, but it was... Okay, we'll separate it. I'll show you the patterns that I did get in the past week. The first pattern that I got was the Mercury socks. You guys have probably heard other podcasters talk about it, but I finally downloaded it. I'm still debating, since it's a free pattern, but I'm still debating as to whether or not I really want to knit it anytime soon. Hold on. I had it loaded up, but my thing kind of went to sleep, so it kind of closed itself off. Okay. Yeah, it's by Kim McKenzie, who is Matilda Wormwood on Ravelry, and I actually get that name reference from the movie Matilda. So here's what this finished sock would look like. If I put it over here, you might... Ooh, I thought I had worked out a perfect place for it. Yeah, there we go. So this is the Mercury sock. So yeah, I'm debating as to when I'm going to cast on. It's a nice simple sock. It looks like it would look good with variegated yarns, but I haven't quite decided exactly what I'm going to do with that yet. So I got that one. And this other one I got because I have every intention of joining a knit-along. The knit-along is called, I wrote it down, hold on, Ahem. Summer Sweater Knit-along. It's being run by Sarah from the Canadian Knitter, and I can't remember the person's name. Hold on. I'll get it. I'll set it up. One moment. Okay, I'm prepared now again. So this sweater knit-along is being hosted by Sarah from the Two Tangle Skeins. I'm sorry, she doesn't come from the Two Tangle Skeins. My mistake. The Canadian Knitter podcast. and Christy Lau of the Relatively Crafty podcast. So it's basically knit a summer sweater for an adult, you know, not too thick, not cables. You know, you can crochet it too, she said yesterday on her update. So I decided to get my pattern for that, and I decided on this one. It's called the Easy Shoulder, hold on, Easy Shoulder Top or Easy Shoulder Lace Top. If you can see right here, yeah, that's the one that I got. It's available for free on Ravelry, and I didn't write down the name of the designer. It's Gabriella Falone, I'm assuming, or Falone, but I think at the time so Falone sounds more proper. But from that, well, I'm just gonna show you. It's gonna be my next cast on, even though they're not new yarns for me. That I got that I'm going to be doing this out of. I'm going to be doing it with 3 yarns. Okay, this is going to get messy because I caked these up ages ago and I just have not used them. So here they are. These are going to be the colors of my sweater. To me, this just screams like summer, maybe early fall in colors. So what I'm going to be using, okay, these are so messy. I need to recake these on. So this is this is from Page Wood Glacier Farms in the colorway Cape Cod Cranberry. I got this as a part of the Cookie, I think it was 2013. Yeah, I think it was 2013. Her sock club, and I ended up not using it for socks. So there's this one, which would transition into this one, which is Sweet Georgia's yarn in the Cash Lux base, which is merino, nylon, and cashmere in the color Blood Orange. I love this color. I think I just loved it so much that I couldn't bear just to put it on my feet. So I've been saving it for something that I really want, which right now is going to be that sweater. And then it's going to transition, even though it's only a 2-color sweater, I decided I'm going to make it 3, into this one. This is by Tanis, from Tanis Fiber Arts. The color, it's on the base of the blue label fingering. The colorway is called Buttercup. That's it, because I kept thinking it was something else. Ooh, no, that's the yarn. So I rescued this yarn from something that had started from way back when, which I never finished. So I frogged it a few months ago, and to me, this is a perfect project to use it for. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to starting that, which technically, probably after I finish filming this, I'm going to get started because today's the first day of the knit along, and it goes until June 15th. So I'm excited and looking forward to doing that. I think that's everything for the stuff that I've acquired. That has nothing to do with the frolic. So, let's go into the talking about the Knitter's Frolic. Sorry. I was so excited to go. I've been wanting to go for years. So this year I finally took the opportunity and I went. I left on in the morning, waved goodbye to my aunt and my cousin, and I got on the bus. I realized when I did like a Google map on it because it's at the Japanese Cultural Center, which is like all the way out like on Scarborough, not like deep Scarborough, I don't think. It's close to the border of like North York. These are all like little sections in Toronto. So it would take me 2 hours by public transportation. So I left my house, I got on the bus, and as I said before, I looked at my bag saying, yes, perfect time to sit down and knit, only to find out I left my yarn at home. So what I needed to start my sock, I left it at home, so I couldn't really do anything. So I listened to a podcast. I sat down there, stared at the walls, looked outside, contemplated on while I was on the train. Why didn't I bring my knitting? But I survived. I made it there. So I got off at the final subway station before getting on the last bus. And while I was waiting for the bus, which the sign said it would take probably about 5 minutes, I looked over and I saw somebody knitting furiously on this little project. And I'm there like, she could be a knitter. She must be a knitter. Maybe she's going to the frolic. So I'm not a person who really likes going up and talking to people first. But I said, you know what? She's a knitter. Generally, knitters are friendly. I've had good experience with knitters. Let me go and talk to her. So I did, and it turns out, yes, she was going to the frolic. And while we were talking, another lady saw us, and she came up and joined our conversation as well. and we ended up riding the entire way down to the frolic together. And we spent like the first part half that I was there, we spent it together, and it was really nice. Getting to know people, I learned their names. We became Instagram buddies like before we even separated for the day. Um, it was really really nice. So, hi guys, it was Rebecca and Sienna. I hope so. I hope I got the name right. Hi guys, if you happen to watch. Um, so after we, well, like when I first reached there, the first person that I saw at the frolic, who I did not come with to the frolic, was Sarah from the knitting podcast, from the Canadian Knitting podcast. She was there with her aunt. It was really nice to meet you. That was the first time that we saw each other for the day. I walked inside. I paid my fee to get in, and first thing people are there like, "Girl Guide cookies." I didn't bring enough money for cookies, so I couldn't take it, and I'm not much of a cookie person. Unless they're like, like homemade, fresh out of the oven chocolate chip cookies or toffee bit cookies, with the exception of Oreos. Oreos I will always eat, but I don't really eat that many kind of baked goods. I'm really much more of a candy person than a baked good person, unfortunately for some people. Um, I I saw my friend JB. She is from the. She told me they're about to start podcasting. I will tell you about it afterwards because I got something with it actually written on there. So I saw her. I said hi. We said we'd meet up later at the podcaster meetup. And then I went walking in with my new TTC knitting buddies, and we went looking. I was in shock by the amount of, not necessarily just knitters, but crafty people who appreciate good quality yarn. Um, Not saying that others don't, but these are people who are looking specifically for the wool. They're looking for the linen. They're looking for the cashmere, all that like they're really the nice stuff. Um, so I saw so much stuff that I wanted to buy, and I knew I couldn't get it. But one thing I did realize, so I'll be more prepared next year, is a lot of them seem to have those little square things that you attach to the top of your phone, and you can make a mobile payment right there. So if you want to get into the frolic, walk with cash. If you want to buy from the frolic, you do have the option with many of them to pay by some form of plastic. I didn't ask what kind of plastic that they paid for. I just walked with a little bit of cash. Um, I went to Red Sock, Blue Sock. I pretty much loved everything that was there. I ended up still not leaving with anything because I knew I had, very limited amount of funds. Um, I went to go see, was it the blue? Oh, the place that had the ombre yarn that I really, really liked. Hold on, double check because I have it written down over here. The Blue Brick. And trust me, they had the ombre yarn that I was looking for. But I took their card instead, and I said, guess what? I'm going to come back and order later when I'm, more able to do so. But I love just about everything that I saw there. I saw places with self-striping yarn. I saw quite a few bag places. There's a few that I'm definitely going to be going back and purchasing from online. Um, Actually, I'm really looking forward to it when I have the opportunity. Especially, the thing that I really liked about the Frolic is the amount of Canadian product that I saw there. Like, there's a lot of Canadian dyers. There's a lot of Canadian. Well, I knew about the Canadian dyers because I've been listening out for them for quite some time, but I'm always finding more, which I'm always excited to find out more about. Canadian bag makers, I'm really happy to hear about them, especially the one that Sarah from the Canadian Knitter was talking about on her last episode. If it's any consolation, it's the one that she put up on April 30th. Um, about the lady from Saskatchewan, I think, who has her bags on there. And I looked up the prices, and I was in shock. I'm there like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm an American buying from an American Etsy shop. I couldn't believe the price. And I'm not even talking about the price of the bags. I'm talking about the price for the shipping. It's $4. $4 for shipping. I've never spent $4 for any kind of shipping for anything ever. I've gotten free if you buy a minimum amount, but $4 is like shocking for me. So I'm looking forward to making an order from her, and I don't even think she was at the Frolic, but it doesn't matter. Yay, Canadians. So as I was walking around, I did see a few more people. I finally got to see some yarn shops that I've never gotten a chance to make it to that I wanted to. But I didn't go with much time to really browse as much as I really wanted to, because I'm one of those people where I don't like going to places that sell a lot of stuff when you don't really have the money to shop. So it was nice to be able to go in and, browse and give, a nice look around, but afterwards, like, I don't want to stay too long, because then you start feeling like, especially in the stuff that you really want, I can't get anything. Because usually when that happens, you'll find me walking off to a corner, sitting down there, pulling out my knitting, pulling out a book, and I'm just there like, call me when you're ready. So since I was traveling pretty much by myself, I said, you know what, that's the reason why I timed it the way that I did. It was close to 1 o'clock. I think it was Rebecca. She had a class that she had to go to. Gosh, I really do want to get to one of these knitting classes one time, but I said I have to go to the meetup, and so that's where I headed off to, and we all exchanged Instagram information so that we can keep in contact that way and look at each other's stuff. And when I went, oh no, I did buy something before that happened. I got I stopped at Trailhead Yarns, which is a hand-dyed vegan yarn place. So you can see there. That's the name. That's the name. Number one, this business card looks awesome. I think, like, the simplicity and the minimalism of it, I really like it. And here's her contact information. So she specializes in yarn that basically is vegan. So there's no wool. There's probably no cashmere or angora. But from what I could see, it was a lot of cotton. I think there was bamboo, but I didn't actually see that myself. There was definitely linen, and it looks like the kind of sock yarn, like, because most of what I was looking at was fingering weight. It looked like the kind of sock yarn that most people have for like merino and that kind of stuff, but it's vegan. So for me, I don't know if I'm gonna try it one day, maybe, but there was one thing that I could not leave without. This is, I'm only showing you this because I got something else on the other side. This is a bag that I bought, and I didn't leave with a frolic bag or t-shirt. I wish I did. By the time I reached back the table, I'm pretty certain the bags are gone. But this is, I call it the scribbly sheep. I love it. I think it's adorable, and yeah, it's just so cute. So, I went for the podcaster meetup, and I got to meet some other podcasters that I listened to that I was really excited to meet. I already said that I met Sarah from the Canadian Knitter. I think I've mentioned her podcast about 4 or 5 times already. I got to meet the girls from Knit One Geek 2, which, Sarah, yes, you did mention them on previous podcasts, because that's how I heard about them. So I got the button. I got to meet Shamika from, I keep wanting to call it Mika Makes, and I think that's the name of her Etsy shop. I think it's Knit Night with Shamika, or with Mika, something like that. I got to meet her, which was really nice to see her. I got to meet Eric from Stitch Plus Twine, and he had buttons for his magazine Rib. I believe the second issue is about to come out. I believe, yeah, it's on pre-order right now, if I remember correctly. I got to meet Tiffany from Knitting at Tiffany's. Yeah. Who else did I get to meet? I met JB. Well, I knew JB from before, and I think her co-host name is, it starts with a K. But anyways, hold on. We'll do it this because it's on here. The name of their podcast is called Randomly Knits. See if you can see right there. Right? So, I'm not certain if they have episodes up yet, but I do know that they were working on them if they had not. I haven't gone to look it up just yet. But JB was giving out stitch markers from her Etsy shop called Just Because Creative. So I ended up with, I don't know, actually, let me just take it out of the bag. It'll be easier that way. So I got Pac-Man, And I got, hold on, I got a green macaroon. I don't even eat macaroons. I've never wanted a macaroon, but it's green. And it's almost the perfect shade of green that I absolutely love. Um, so, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. So this is, can you guys see that? If you can see that. Her shop right there. Yeah, Just Because Creative. Justbecausecreative.etsy.com. So I know she makes stitch markers. I don't know if she'd ventured into making bags yet, but I know it was something she was working on before. So that's my full acquisition, I believe. Yeah, my full acquisition. So that is everything from no, I'm definitely planning to go again next year. I had fun meeting people that I have never met before. We became, I don't know if you would consider the ongoing joke, but I pretty much introduced myself as the other Ramona, because everybody knew the Ramona who's a part of the Knitting Guild, and she knows everybody. So I just started introducing myself as the other Ramona. They're like, "Oh yes, you're the one that Ramona's always talking about." And they're like, "Yay, me!" So yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. So that's pretty much it for all of the frolic stuff. I didn't get to go to the tea party that was happening on Sunday because I went to a surprise birthday party for a longtime family friend. His wife and daughters threw it for him. It was quite nice. It was a nice place that they got. The food was good. He was pretty much suspicious, especially considering my mother, who is a professional baker, was asked to make the cake and some other stuff like desserts and that kind of stuff. But my mom doesn't go over to their house that often, like maybe about once a month or something like that. So when she shows up twice in a week, he became suspicious. And when I heard that, I'm there like, why? Why? If you want to throw a good surprise party, why are you going to be showing up at this house more often than you usually really do? Like, go meet at Tim Hortons, get a cup of coffee or something, or tea, and to sit down there and discuss it like that so that he doesn't know. But he enjoyed himself. He loved it. He said he very much appreciated it, and he felt loved. So that's really good. So I doubt he's ever even gonna watch this, but just in case, happy birthday, brother Scott. Um, and that is pretty much it for anything that's knitting, weekend related, other than stuff I've watched on TV. Well, I guess I can talk a little bit about that. This week, my DC TV shows came back, with the exception of one because it had its season finale already. I watched Supergirl this week. I barely remember what happens, other than Mon-El is still there. Don't really care for his character that much. Like, he's cute, but maybe it's because of the way they write him. I'm not too big of a fan of him just yet. Kara was there. Kara, of course, is always awesome. Yeah, we'll leave that. I watched The Flash. That was the one that I rushed home and, made sure I got in front of the TV to watch because that's my absolute favorite one. It was really cool to see Barry in the future, although they need to really work on their wigs because, yeah, I, CW, is it CW? Yeah, CW, they need to up the budget for the wigs because especially when they go to the future or they have to go to the past and the actor's hair, it really isn't like looking like that. It really doesn't look like their hair. The exception for this season, though, when it comes to the wigs, is it actually looks pretty good for Oliver Queen on Arrow. For this season, his wig actually looks somewhat decent. It doesn't just look like it's plopped down on his head. it's I don't know, maybe it fits him better. They picked a better style. I have no idea. But yeah, so those are pretty much the three superhero shows that I really watch. That's pretty much my favorite genre of TV. Um, it pretty much works the same way for movies as well. That's I'm trying to think. Yeah, because I didn't really turn on my TV much for anything else. Otherwise, I was just pretty much watching YouTube and and Netflix. The only other thing that I was watching, and I don't know why I was watching it, but I made it through the entire season. I watched Power Rangers. Not Mighty Morphin, not because the movie came out, but but I ended up watching, was it Dino Thunder? Oh my gosh. I think honestly the only reason I watched it was because the guy who played Tommy Oliver from the original Mighty Morphin was in it, and it would be cool to see him as a grown up. Is pretty much the only reason why I watched it. I was like, it was like by this time they realized the silliness of the show and they went with it, which I absolutely found hilarious. Um, uh, like it was interesting to see people that you see on TV. Like I've seen them, but this was back in 2004 that this originally aired, and it's amazing to see. Okay, you're back on that in 2004. I've seen you on TV or in a movie now, and I didn't even realize that that was you and that you did that before. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty much my week. I had my last week of school for this term. I'm happy to be done, honestly. Not the big hoopla like everybody else. I just really want a. I'm just happy that I'm done for now. So that is pretty much it for the But I'm Knitting podcast for this week's episode. Um, I don't know if I'm going to do one next week or the week after. I haven't quite decided on my full schedule just yet, but I know for certain even if I do it next week, I'll have stuff to show. Um, I oh something. This is somewhat knitting related. I had this idea for a yarn that I really really wanted to dye, and I figured out with my big old pegboard and hooks how to wind the yarn to get it to look the way that I want to. So I finally got it done, and I said I was going to use Kool-Aid to do it, only to realize that the color that I need and the intensity that I need, I don't have enough of that specific color. I have a lot of everything else, but not that specific color. So I decided I was going to go to the grocery store and go see if I can find, little packets of the color. They have everything but that one. I went to like 3 different corner stores because most grocery stores don't carry it in the little packets. They have like either the big tub or they have the jammers, which is useless to me. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing, like, I have enough in acid dyes, I think, to do it the way that I want to. Uh, but that means I have to mix it, and I guess it was just being lazy because it seems like it's so much faster just to do it with the Kool-Aid. Um, and I could safely, like, stick it in the microwave to heat it that way, but that won't be an option this way. So we'll see how this is going to work. I'm going to either do it today or tomorrow is the plan. Uh, I'll let you guys see how it turns out next episode for sure, because I'm definitely not going to start knitting it by the time I podcast again. So I should have a finished skein, dyed and dried and rinsed and all that kind of dyed, rinsed and dried. That's it. It will be it will be dried. It will be dyed, rinsed, and dyed by the next time you guys see me. Okay? So it was nice talking to all of you, and have a good day. Bye.